The debate over personal privacy versus national security took a new turn Thursday when the director of the FBI criticized Apple and Google for developing encrypted smartphones, devices he warned would allow people to place themselves beyond the law. For more about this, we're joined now by Julia Angwin. She's a senior reporter at ProPublica. So, Julia, what is it that these companies are doing that has the FBI so concerned?
Essentially the way to think of this is that they're allowing you to encrypt the equivalent of your hard drive. So the way you have a home computer and you might want to encrypt your hard drive, now you have a hard drive on your phone and you can encrypt that. And so that means basically any information that's stored on your phone would now be secure and really unreadable by anyone who doesn't have your passcode. But it's worth pointing out that almost every bit of data I have on my phone is also replicated somewhere else, right? So for instance, my emails might be stored on Google servers, or my photos might be backed up on iCloud. And so all of that data, if it's somewhere else, most likely is obtainable by the FBI.
So if this data is readily available in other places, why is the FBI so upset?
Well, so the FBI would, of course, like their job to be as easy as possible. And, I think all of us are sort of slightly sympathetic to the idea that we want law enforcement to have as many tools as possible. But in this particular case, we were talking about a very small subset of their data, which is the physical device. So they have to come get your actual device from you. But in the end, they are going to get that information. And they have not yet presented an actual case where they would have failed to complete their investigation without this information.
So what is in it for these Silicon Valley giants to up their game on privacy at this point?
So I think in the post-Snowden era, they're realizing that they can use this as a marketing tool, which is like, hey, I've got better privacy than you. And this is sort of actually the first time that we've seen kind of a privacy war, right? Apple came out with its encrypted default setting for your phone, and then immediately Google came out and said, oh, we're doing the same thing. And it's worth, to be fair, saying Google had actually offered the option earlier, but it wasn't a default. So, now they're kind of playing this race, which we usually see on things like camera resolution. And now we're seeing it on privacy, so that might maybe usher in an era where people start to compete on privacy features.
That was interesting that Tim Cook, Apple's CEO, sort of distanced himself, saying, we sell devices, not your data, almost like a marketing tool.
Right. Yes, absolutely. That's his differentiating point, which is Google selling your data. I mean, they're not selling it directly, but they're selling advertisers the ability to access information about you in order to target ads at you. And that is their business model. They don't sell you. You don't pay Google anything the way I'm paying, it seems, ungodly amounts of money to Apple all the time.
Tell me a little bit about why this is different than any encryption that we've done before.
We've always had this idea that the data we store on our machine, which is generally in our home, is ours, and it's secure, and if you want it, you're going to have to come actually get that device and break into it. And so it's not that different. But our phones we carry around with us, and they do get sort of seized in arrests or whatever, and so police would like to thumb through them, and they often do have a search warrant for it. But they can, once again, get almost all of that information other ways. They could go to the cell phone carrier. For instance, if they want to know who you and I are calling, we already know, for instance, the NSA has nice, handy logs of all of that.
Yeah.
But let's say the local police don't have access to the NSA logs. They also can go to AT&T or Verizon with a search warrant and get it from them.
Julia Angwin from ProPublica. Thank you so much.
Thank you.